So I just recently had the pleasure of double featuring two cult classics, Fubar and Fubar 2. Um, Literally, I think these films were made to be watched together because they go hand in hand perfectly. Um, these are Canadian films, and these are Canadian releases, I'm quite sure, at least fully. And a lot of people actually compare the Fubar films to Trailer Park Boys, and I find that just a little bit strange only because the humor of Trailer Park Boys has never really been up my alley, and I've never really been a big fan of the show. I mean, it's okay, but when it comes to comedy, I absolutely find these, gut-wrenchingly hilarious. They're way more up my speed. I can see the comparisons with Trailer Park Boys for sure, because Trailer Park Boys is also Canadian. But my God, these are killer. These, in my opinion, are so much funnier than any Trailer Park Boys that I've ever seen. But like I said, I can see the resemblance. And what these are about, basically, the first one is a mockumentary. You get this guy named Farrell, and he's making a documentary on headbangers, as he calls it, and documenting the party slash metalhead lifestyle. Both films are packed with all kinds of like hair metal bands, music like AC/DC, Iron Maiden, Def Leppard, or as one interviewee calls it, Dead Leopard, I think. I wrote it down. Dead Leopard or Sick Cougar, or I don't know what those crazy bands are called. All that crazy music that the young kids are listening to. You get some funny interviews in here. It's Paul J. Spence who plays Dean, and then you've got Dave Lawrence playing Terry. So you got these two guys, Terry and Dean. They're best friends, and they're being followed around for this whole film by this guy named Farrell. I don't know if I took down Farrell's, like, the actor's name, but like I said, it's a mockumentary. It's not serious or anything. But it's absolutely hilarious. These guys are just party animals. They're constantly drinking beer through the whole film. They're getting absolutely obliterated. This poor documentary guy is following them around, just trying to make a name for himself because he's a documentary filmmaker. And yeah, you just get, a, a visual on their lifestyle kind of thing in like a humorous, fake kind of way. But yeah, it ends up without getting basically. That's as far as I can get without spoiling anything. Obviously, I'll say there is a situation that happens with one of the characters medically, and then it's kind of them dealing with that, and they don't want to kind of ruin the documentary by saying a lot of information, and actually one of them ends up giving the documentary filmmaker a little bit too much information. But it gets to the point where they start to build a friendship with the documentary filmmaker Farrell, and then something happens at the end of the film for anybody who watched it, and it basically goes from there. And then the second one, I'll just quickly describe that one too. It's not as much as a mockumentary as it is more a continuation of their lifestyle, so it kind of plays out as more of a regular film, although it is kind of filmed documentary style-ish kind of thing. Kind of found footage, you could say, maybe, but it's definitely story focused a lot more than the first film is. There's this guy which plays their best friend, and his name is Tron. Tron could be probably not my favorite character, because I'd say Dean is easily my favorite character. The guy just is so relatable. His jokes just crack me up like crazy. But Troy, who's nicknamed Tron in the film, he shows up in the first movie, and he makes such a transformation from 1 to 2. It's absolutely insane. In the first film, he's very settled down. He has this girlfriend that's borderline control freak, and really is on top of him to keep his life, focused on a job, work full time, stay away from the party scene kind of thing. So you can tell he's more of a boring, more like grown up character, but you can tell he's also like avoiding the party scene. He avoids his two best friends like crazy, and they really miss him, and they try to get him out, but he doesn't want to, go back to that. Partially because he knows if he does, he won't, he won't, he'll lose it again and just become a party animal like them two. But also because his current girlfriend is holding him back like crazy. And then you get him in the second film, which this one, it takes place, well, it focuses on these two getting jobs because this guy named Troy, aka Tron, has a job in Fort McMurray in Alberta, which Fort McMurray, for anybody who knows where that is basically an oil gold mine. And a lot of people go there to work because you can make an absolute killing up there. It's intense labor. It's basically slavery almost, but you're working like 60 to 80 hour weeks, and it's a place where you go for like a year, and basically you have enough to live for the next like 20. So it's really north. Fort McMac is like a really cold place because it kind of borders, or kind of is on the same level as the very northern part of Ontario in Alberta. So it's, you know, obviously detrimentally freezing up there. But Troy, Tron, whatever, promises them jobs at the beginning of the film, and then they go up to Alberta, and it follows their, you know, party lifestyle. They really take nothing seriously, and hilarity ensues. I love the interviews that the people that they get, even though everything is fake. That actually kind of makes it funnier because they're just, everybody's so stereotypical. This is very much Canucksploitation for sure. They don't really say a boot in here because, I digress, we don't say a boot in Canada very much. That's a myth, in my opinion. We don't go around saying a boot, but pretty much everything else with like the Canadian beer, they're like the way they talk, total Canucksploitation to a T. Farrell's pretty funny too. He really wants to give a name to himself, and there's a scene where they're camping and they're all ripping on each other, and they form a sort of friendship with Farrell, but at the same time Farrell kind of is opposite of their lifestyle. And there's a scene where they get drunk while camping, and Farrell just keeps kind of ripping them apart, saying like, "Where would you be without me? You know, where, you know, you guys wouldn't be anywhere without me." And he asks them where they would be without me, and Dean and Terry are just like, "We'd be right here," kind of thing. And it's true, right? They live day to day and literally don't give a shit about anything else. It's funny. And then my other favorite scene is at the beginning of the film when they're having a pre-party and waiting for Tron to show up, which he never does. They're just getting smashed, and as they get drunker, they get angrier because Troy doesn't show up because he doesn't want to dive into that party lifestyle again. And the shit these guys do, like they're throwing freaking garbage cans through like what's it called, bus stops, like bus shelters or whatnot, the glass shit, and spray painting the floor, fucking graffitiing everything. It's insanity. It's absolutely insanity, and it really, like, they introduce characters sometimes a lot as themselves, and the people behind this film too, or both of them, made this film that I also really like and own called It's All Gone Pete Tong. And that's another mockumentary, fake documentary style film as well that follows this real life DJ. He's obviously not a real life DJ, but it follows him as he's going deaf, and he's kind of losing it because he's losing his hearing. He's also losing his sanity as well. And Dean is actually in it, the guy who plays Dean, Paul Lawrence, I think? Paul J. Lawrence? Paul J. Spence. Paul J. Spence plays Dean. And he's in It's All Gone Pete Tong. Except in It's All Gone Pete Tong, he's playing this like Dutch or German guy with like a thick German accent. And in this one, he's playing somebody who's like full like Canadian accent, Albertian kind of thing. So I don't know where he's from, but he's obviously really good at interpreting people. But yeah, they're waiting for Tron, and they're just fucking shit up, as they do throughout the whole film. And apparently days or evenings are really, really long in Alberta because they're showing the time, and it's like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. and the sun hasn't even set yet. And I've, where I'm from, the sun sets latest in the summer at like 9, if that, 8:30. But yeah, to see like everything still bright outside at like 10 p.m. Never seen that before in my life. And Fubar 2 is just as good. I absolutely love the opening with Tron, or Troy. I'm just going to say Tron because it's easier. And he's fully different. You can tell how insane he gets with when he's in party mode. Friggin', he brings a chainsaw to a party. He comes drunk. In his truck, hits a freaking birch tree. He's like, "Fuck you, birch!" Spits on the tree. Dean and Terry say they're moving out of the house, so all of a sudden, as soon as they say that, he's like, "Eviction party!" and it turns into a full-blown riot. He has this full beard. You can tell this guy is, when in party mode, doesn't take anything seriously, just like Terry and Dean. Fubar 2 takes place 5 years after the first one. It came out 8 years after the first one, but it takes place 5 years later. And yeah, like I said, they move up north to Fort McMurray to chase these jobs that Tron offered them while he was drunk. So he knows that he thought these guys weren't going to take his offer seriously, but they did, and they chase him up there. I love the scene that takes place in the Edmonton Mall. The Edmonton Mall is either supposed to be the biggest in the world or the biggest in Canada for sure. And this mall has like roller coasters inside. It's massive. But they just do a bunch of crazy shit there. They meet this woman named Trish who works at a strip club, and Terry ends up falling for Trish, and they end up in a relationship, and this kind of brings tension between Dean and Terry. Trish is supposed to be the village bicycle, so basically everybody's had a ride, and Terry still simps for her like a crazy man. And when I say simp, I mean like simp for this chick. Buys her everything, like drains his credit card and all of his funds, even though he's working at Fort Mac making a killing. He's still draining it all on this girl that he just met and continued to move in with and all that shit. It's just as funny, and it kind of gets a little heartwarming too when it comes to certain themes in it, like about not how can I put this? I was gonna say not taking anything like life too seriously, but obviously this is an extreme way of not taking life too seriously, but kind of finding what's worthwhile in life kind of thing. So it's strange to have that kind of theme in films that are basically Trailer Park Boys style in humor, but it's there. It's there. And then Tron, when I said he made a transformation between films, he also makes a transformation between how fucking crazy he is. Because when he loses his job, he just goes over the friggin' top. The suicide pact that he makes with Dean, and how seriously he takes that, and then where that ends up at the end of the film with the whole Christmas setting, because Fubar 2 takes place in December. When the little girl thinks he's Santa Claus and everything, I'm like, oh my god, this film went places. This film went places. It's funny when Dean is tripping out on LSD with the Dio poster. First of all, I'm a massive fan of Dio, and he has the Dio poster, and because he's tripping, this is at the beginning of the film, he lights his room on fire, and he's worshipping Dio as if Dio's a god with his long hair on the poster, and there's flames everywhere. And he thinks he's in hell or something, and I like the first one a little bit better, but there's specific moments in Fubar 2 that definitely beat the overall moments in Fubar 1, I can say. But yeah, it's an overall good time, and like I said at the beginning of this review, these films are definitely made to watch together. Like, double featuring them is the way to go, for sure. That's pretty much all I have on those, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's all my notes on that. I'd say check them both out. If you haven't seen these and you're into this type of humor, check them out both. pretty sure you could find them streaming somewhere. But I loved them. This watch specifically, I gave them 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, and I could easily give them 90 out of 100. Each of them. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe a point or two difference here and there, but they're around the high 80s, low 90s. So I would say 90 out of 100 for now. Why out of 100? Because I hate decimals, and I'm not going to sit here and try to round off each film. But yeah, it's. I mean, they're metal comedies, metal mockumentary comedies, basically, and they're friggin' good. Like, they're party films. They're party films, easily. But that's what I got on them. That's my Fubar double feature. Don't get mistaken for a Fubar really fucked up film, because there's one called Fubar. I saw it on, what do they make? Those iceberg charts, which on the tip of the iceberg is like the least crazy, and then the bottom of the iceberg is the most crazy, and they do these iceberg charts for different things. And they had a disturbing movie iceberg chart. Well, apparently there's this really messed up, pretty sure illegal film that's called Fubar. Not that. This is totally different type of Fubar, not illegal films and not fucked up films. Yeah, they're really good. They're really, really funny. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I will be back with more. There's lots on the channel though. So stay tuned, subscribe, and until next time, take care and cheers.